رمضان تجلى وابتسم طوبى للعبد إذا تنما.
At what age does it become obligatory to fast? Now, to rephrase the question so that it would become a bit more informative. Who are those that fasting is obligatory upon them? Or in another word, what are the conditions that must be fulfilled so fasting would become mandatory? There are 5 conditions. 1 is Islam. 2 is to be accountable. 3 is to be able. 4 is to be a resident. 5 is to not have any obstacles. And I'll explain this to you in a very easy fashion, inshallah. First, you have to be a Muslim, which means if a non-Muslim comes to you and says, your religion is beautiful, can I fast with you Ramadan? Sure thing, fast. So he fasts exactly like I do, from the break of dawn till the sunset. And he eats fatur, he eats some busak with me and some shorba, maybe some biryani. This is not accepted from him because he's a kafir, he's a disbeliever. So condition number 1, you have to be Muslim in order for you that your fasting is accepted and it's obligated. Number 2, to be accountable. In Arabic, we call it a taklif. And taklif means that you have to be sane and adult. What do you mean by sane? Which means that anyone who's insane, someone who does not have control over his actions or thought, someone who's lost his sanity, is not obliged to fast. Someone who's 40 years of age, but he takes his poo and washes his face with it. He doesn't know when it's morning and when it's evening. He doesn't know his father from his brother. He doesn't know anything. He has the intellect of a 3 or 2 years of age child. Insane. He's not obliged to fast. And if he does, it's not counted for him. And likewise, a child who did not reach the age of puberty. And the evidence, where do you bring this from, Sheikh? Well, it's crystal clear. The Prophet said, ﷺ, the pen, which means the accountability pen, that registers your good deeds and bad deeds. The pen is uplifted from 3. Someone who's asleep until he wakes up. Someone who's insane until he regains his sanity. And a child until he reaches the age of puberty. So this answers your question, though it does not finish my argument. At what age does it become obligatory to fast? When the child becomes an adult, he's obliged to fast. It's mandatory upon him to fast. Oh, Sheikh, does this mean that a child does not fast? Because a boy may reach the age of puberty when he is like 13 or 14 years of age. So he doesn't fast? I said, no. He's obliged to fast when he reaches the age of puberty. It doesn't mean that we do not teach him how to fast and train him how to fast earlier on. Can you explain? Yeah, sure. The Prophet says, ﷺ, order your children to pray when they are 7 and beat them when they are 10. They have not reached the age of puberty. They're not accountable. Yes, but this is part of the training. From 7 to 10, 3 years, I do not lay a hand on the child. Come, son, let's pray. Come pray. I'll give you chocolate. Come with me to the masjid. Oh, people are asking about you. Encouragement. A little bit of intimidation, but no punishment at all. For 3 years, 360 days multiplied by 5 times, you do the math. I flunked Calculus 101. So this doesn't mean he's accountable, but this is a training. Likewise, the children. The companions used to ask and have their children fast until it's midday. When they're starving and thirsty, they would give them probably dolls of wool to play with. When it's Asr time and they're totally wasted, so they allow them to eat, maybe drink. Next year, the period would be longer. Third year, they're okay. Is it obligatory for them to fast? No, it's not. You should train them. But what is the appropriate age to train them? It differs. Because such a training depends entirely on their endurance and their tolerance. I have one of my grandchildren who's 8 years of age. When she started to fast, she was 8 and she fasted the whole of Ramadan. MashaAllah, no problem. Not a single day missed. Not feeling fatigue, not crying and whining. And I have another grandson who's like 11 years of age and he often breaks his fasting. He can't tolerate it. So it depends on the tolerance of the person. All what we do is encourage them, give them good words of praising, etc., until it gets into the system, and then inshallah it will be normal. Going back to my argument, I have not finished. So Muslim, accountable, and then he has to be able for fasting to be mandatory. What do you mean able, Sheikh? If he's too old, he's 90 years of age, he doesn't have any illnesses, but being this old, he's so fragile and weak. So by 12 noon, he's almost dead, no power. So he's not able, he's exempted. Or chronically ill, someone who has an illness that mandates that he breaks his fast. Doctors say he would never ever be able to fast or make up his missed days. Those are not obliged to fast. Number 4, he has to be a resident. So a person who's traveling is exempted from fasting. And number 5, obstacles must be removed. There should not be obstacles. What do we mean obstacles? Women who are menstruating or having postnatal bleeding. This, out of their choice, prevents them from fasting. So these are the 5 conditions. Memorize them. It would give you a lot of knowledge and momentum to understand when to fast and when not to fast.
رمضان تجلى وابتسما طوبى للعبد إذا تنما.
There are brothers who are fasting but are careless about praying their salah. They do not pray. And reciting the Quran. They waste their Ramadan in loitering in food malls, just going around shopping, etc. What's the ruling on that? First of all, we have to understand we are not people judges. The biggest problem is when I think of myself as a good believer, as a righteous, pious, practicing Muslim, and then I look at everyone else starting to accuse their iman, starting to blame their lack of interest in good things, starting to feel boastful, thinking highly of myself, liking what I do, and resenting what they are not doing like me. This is the same thing that Satan had and ended up him going into hell. So, Sheikh, we should not comment. No, Akhi, don't get me wrong. It's the feeling that goes into your heart. When I read this question, I get this sense. Now, what is mandatory upon them? To fast Ramadan. Are they fasting? Yes, they're fasting. But, wait. Are they fulfilling the pillar? Yes, they're fasting. Okay. Do they pray 5 times a day? Yes, Sheikh, but not in the masjid. Okay, this is sinful. we might bring this up to them in encouraging them. Going to shopping malls, food malls, spending time buying clothes, is it haram? No, it's not haram, Sheikh, but they should. What they should do is something different. You have to weigh and know the preferences in Islam. Don't you know that there is a hadith that a man came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, tell me about salah. He said, to pray 5 times a day. He said, anything more? The Prophet said, no, except if you want to offer voluntary. Tell me about fasting. He said, to fast Ramadan. Anything more? He said, no, unless you want to add something voluntary, and so on. So the man said, by Allah who had sent you, I will not deduct or add more than what you had said. Meaning, he would only pray 5 times a day, full stop. He would only fast Ramadan, full stop, etc. And he left. And the Prophet said, by Allah, if he was telling the truth, he will succeed. The guy is not going to pray Taraweeh, no tahajjud, nothing extra other than the 5 daily prayers. Yet the Prophet said that he would succeed. So when you and I come and evaluate others and say, oh, this brother doesn't pray Taraweeh with us in the masjid, he's a bad Muslim. A'udhu billahi min ash-shaytanir rajim. How dare you judge others? So akhi and ukhti, brother and sister, don't get me wrong. I just want you to open up. And you know the race horses, when they put something beside their eyes so they only see the track, not being distracted, I'd like you to remove this and see the full picture. Now, this doesn't stop us from encouraging them and showing them that Taraweeh has this beautiful reward from Allah Azza wa Jal. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, whoever prays Ramadan in totality, there is Taraweeh prayer, Allah Azza wa Jal would forgive his sins, providing he does this imanan wa ihtisaban. Man qama Ramadan imanan wa ihtisaban. Imanan meaning believing in the sunnah and the reward of it. Ihtisaban, anticipating the reward from Allah Azza wa Jal, not from others. This is the meaning of imanan wa ihtisaban. So, first of all, praying the whole night of Ramadan. That's too long, Sheikh. You're talking about 10 hours a night? That's a lot. Well, Allah has given you concessions. Really? Yes. The Prophet said, whoever prays with the Imam until he concludes his prayer, Allah would register to him the prayer of a full night. So if I pray Isha, and then I pray Taraweeh with the same Imam until he gives salam from witr, Allah would give me the 9 or 10 hours full night prayer. Wow. Not only that, the Prophet said, whoever prays Laylatul Qadr, one night, imanan wa ihtisaban, believing in Allah and anticipating the reward from Allah, Allah would forgive his previous sins. Wow. One night. And I don't know which night it is. So anyone who prays Taraweeh, Qiyam with the Imam in the last 10 nights, he's got it done. Who cares if it's the 21st night or the 29th night of Ramadan? Who cares? As long as I prayed the whole last 10 nights, I'm a winner for sure and certain. So we encourage people, but we don't judge them. As long as they're doing what is mandatory and staying away from haram, yes. And always try to call people, not repel them. If he prays on time and he fasts Ramadan, and you keep on telling him, Ya akhi, you should not go to malls, you should not go and have dinner outside, you should not spend so much time with your wife going to visit. Ya akhi, it's none of your business. It's between me and Allah Azza wa Jal. You are making me hate what I'm doing because it's not like what you're doing. Always have the balance, always bring people to Islam rather than repelling them away from Islam.
رمضان تجلى وابتسما طوبى للعبد إذا تنما.
Okay, brushing teeth using toothpaste while fasting. Is it allowed? Can it be done more than once a day? Can we use mouth freshener spray? Can we eat chewing gum? First of all, the issue of brushing your teeth, this is a sunnah. The Prophet ﷺ used to use this known as miswak. And the companion of the Prophet said ﷺ, I saw the Prophet ﷺ use the miswak countless of numbers during the day while fasting. Which means that brushing your teeth is okay. Now, some scholars put restrictions on using toothpaste because toothpaste has mass to it. So if you swallow some of it, you would break your fast. But usually people brush their teeth well until it's dissolved, and then when they turn the water in the mouth and spit it out, it's all gone. All what remains is the taste. And the taste is no problem. It does not impact your fasting. So can I do it number of times a day? No problem. Can I use mouth spray? Oh, this is different. If you said mouth wash, where you turn the water in your mouth and you spit it out, nothing is left, no residue, nothing, this is no problem. When you use a mouth spray, this is liquid, and you don't spit it out, you swallow it. This breaks your fasting. And you have to be careful. Likewise, chewing gum. Chewing gum has particles in it that dissolve, and you swallow that with your saliva, and this breaks your fasting.